Taste the rainbow. I was 41. My nipples felt like blisters, and I sweated so much I kept a bath rag on a retractable keychain. My gyno said I was a little perimenopausal. I just knew that I felt like a hen going through a molt. I had Mama's dying again dreams. Even though she'd been dead 11 years, in them, she'd come back to life and do a bunch of bad stuff, and I'd have to go clean up all her messes. She stole plants, married a man she met on the internet, and shoplifted often. Worst of all was the dream where I was driving the fire engine to a structure fire, wearing only my t-shirt and panties. She was riding shotgun. On the way, she made me stop at Riverfront Liquors to get her a gallon of Inglenook Chablis. We were last on scene, and I was humiliated because I was still in my t-shirt and panties, and everybody saw. The Mama's dying again dream started the summer Mama came to Savannah for vacation and never went home. Died in my apartment 101 days after she fell at a cocktail party. From cancer, not drinking. She had a couple of dying wishes. Just one more cigarette. I swear I'll be good and go to bed. And promise me you won't be a firefighter. I don't want you to die in a fire. I didn't know she didn't want me to be a firefighter. She'd been so supportive after I failed the physical test the year before. I promised. She died. Then I tried again and passed. Wasn't like she said it sober. She spent her last day smoking weed and drinking cheap white wine out of a 32-ounce plastic cup with a sidecar of Old Crow. I was her personal make-a-wish and would promise just about anything to get an hour's worth of sleep. Driven by my changing hormones, I was convinced that the intensity with which I sweated or dreamed Mama came back from the dead was punishment because I became a firefighter against her dying wish. A message from beyond, a sign I needed to right my wrong. January 3rd of 2012, I quit my firefighter job in Savannah, Georgia, packed up all my shit and moved back to Greenwood, Mississippi to teach like Mama and Daddy. By August, I was a teacher and had no idea what I was in for. Facebook post from August 12th, 2012. I was in the school today working on my room. As the other teachers put stuff all over their walls and set up activity stations, I spent a solid 5 hours decorating my door. I am proud to say there's not a single ruler, schoolhouse, star, apple, or any other standard teacher junk on there. I used cardboard, scrap sticky vinyl, Sharpies, and paint pens to create a learning strategies, aka Chela's art class, chicken surfing / peekaboo extravaganza. So, my walls may be bare, and I may not know exactly what learning strategies is, but by golly, my door is phenomenal. The first day was rough. I put Daddy's Gutierrez engraved steel paddle back on my desk next to Mama's black swing-line stapler labeled Art Department and white paint pen. I was nervous when the day started and hoarse at the end. They ate, sat on top of a desk, ran around the room, fingered Mama's stapler, swung Daddy's paddle, loitered and littered, all at the top of their lungs. I had no control. By the end of 7th period, I knew I'd fucked up big time when I decorated my goddamn door. Those 5th and 6th graders knew it too. They ran all over me. I did not want to paddle, even though I could. Corporal punishment was the default discipline for the LaFleur County schools. I had never spanked a child. Hell, I'd never been in a fist fight. And I couldn't use Daddy's steel paddle. What if I hit too hard or missed the target altogether? Just like when I was trying to kill that possum with a pickaxe after it murdered one of my chickens in Savannah. I'd hit his stomach, neck, and back, rarely his head. But what if I did that to the children? Mr. Williams taught in the classroom next door to mine. He was a seasoned teacher, the head of school security, and his daddy taught with my mama at Greenwood High. I asked Mr. Williams if I could borrow his paddle and maybe practice on him before 7th period. He stepped back defensively like I made an unusual request, but how else would I figure out how hard to hit a kid? Thursday, I paddled for the first time. I half-ass whacked at 3 little black boys' butts for fighting during 7th period. Did it with Mr. Williams' paddle in an empty classroom without practice. It felt like shit. 5th period Friday, Devon was on a roll. A chunky, light-skinned 11-year-old. He'd been ramping up all week, in and out of his chair, interrupted class, then started a fight. I'd set the precedence that I gave licks for fighting, but couldn't bring myself to spank Devon. He reminded me of a boy I knew years ago, whose father was his grandfather. So I asked the in-school suspension teacher to do it. I called her Miss ISS. She was a gifted disciplinarian, could snatch a knot in a kid before they even knew they were fixing to mess up. The children fawned over her. Hell, she was the best teacher in the whole school and didn't teach a damn thing. Miss ISS held court, center stage of the auditorium, the hub of East Elementary. In her hands, a paddle was a magic wand that she waved through the air, threatening to give licks she called tasting the rainbow. Miss ISS had no problem coming down to my room to whoop Devon's ass. Her presence in my doorway oozed discipline. The students were under her spell, and I was giddy. She pointed her paddle at Devon. He'd already thrown himself on the floor. The class was impressed. He flailed and winced as she walked toward him. "Get up, Devon. It's time to taste the rainbow." They gasped. Does anyone else in here want to taste the rainbow? We all wanted to taste the rainbow. Devon was a superstar. I lost control of myself on Monday. I had no rules, and when I did, it was too late. The students loved how mad I got, the rage that boiled inside of me. I'd already paddled 5, didn't mean shit to them. The 1 or 2 that had my back said fuck it and joined in with the noise and the chaos, the cussing and the fighting. I asked them to stop. They pushed me too far. I slammed my steel paddle against the metal filing cabinet, hit it as hard as I could, left an imprint of the paddle's round edge, banged it like a bass drum, ear-splitting. The clash made the kids cover their ears. I slammed it longer than necessary, slammed it until I saw them hurt. I had their attention, and I slammed it to watch them hurt. "Shut up and sit down," pushed out of my gut in a deep, scary voice. The scary voice that I used on the fireground when men couldn't hear me. The one that slowed speeding cars. The deep, scary voice that startled my ex-wife. My students were terrified of me. I was terrified of me. I didn't know who this person was. This person who raged like my mama, sounded like my mama. I didn't like this person. Growing up, Mama taught all day, came home, got drunk, and I got her shitty leftovers. I fucking hated her for it. Until I stood there in her shoes, looking at a classroom full of students that had just pushed me too far. I felt ashamed. How does she do it? Teach for 30 years. No wonder she said teaching sucked the life out of her. Mama taught all day, came home, got drunk, and did it again the next day. I lost my shit Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By Friday, my 10th day of teaching, I had nothing left. 7th period filed in, the uproar, and then the fight, same too. I had paddled them, told them the rules, made them right, lost my shit, and here we were again. 2 little black boys beating the shit out of each other for the 3rd time this week. That's when I finally got it, no matter how Hispanic I identified. My ass looked white, and taking licks from a white teacher didn't mean shit. All they wanted was for the black ladies to love them. I quit paddling. I felt nothing when one slammed the other's head onto the concrete floor. The thud brought the room to their feet. Ooh. Desks slid and chips flew in the air. The students crowded around and pumped their fists at the action. I sat behind my desk and watched. One little girl yelled, "Miss G, ain't you gonna do something?" Nope. They've been trying to beat the shit out of each other all week. Let them fight. She glared at me with wide, frightened eyes and ran out the door. Mr. Williams, they's fighting over here." The bell rang. I gathered up my daddy's paddle and my mama's stapler, walked into the principal's office and said, "Firefighting's safer than teaching. I quit."